Okay, so quick part two of the video. I pressed stop recording by accident and I got better lighting, but we're back where we left off. Well, if you just watch this, you'll know where we left off. But if you watch them at separate times, we just left off at how Devin Weller is stepping down, stepping back, and leaving, and a SIP that he was going to do just got funded for $20,000, but he's leaving and stuff like that. So let's get back into that, Dante.
Okay, good.
Because so Devin Weller was paid something like $25,000 by the foundation over the past couple months.
Yeah, makes sense.
He was supposed to be doing development for Counterparty. I mean, I don't hate that, but you know, recently he was pushing for Litecoin, a fork to Litecoin, which I brought up. I didn't think was appropriate, but a lot of the reasons they want to move to Litecoin is for fee reasons related to fees.
Correct. Right.
There's
right.
a number of SIPs on the table
that would mitigate the fees.
Which would mitigate fees. One of them was proposed by Devin, which is SegWit, which is fully funded with $20,000. I mean, he defined, I want 500 Counterparty, and that was when it was worth a lot less. And so now the bounty for him to do it is even higher, and he's leaving. And if he would do it, it would mitigate fees. And he didn't even address that, which I think is a shame. He should at least, maybe if he's not going to do it, that's fine. But he should say, like, this is not a SIP I will do. Because that lets other people know that, like, they can go for that $20,000 bounty to do SegWit.
What was the value of, by the way, what was the value of the bounty at the time that he put out the SIP?
500 Counterparty.
At that time?
End of September. So I can look real quick. You want to talk while I look?
Yeah, ballpark. Yeah, I mean, I could talk. Militant mothers hiding in the basement using pots and pans as their shields and their helmets. Molotov milk bottles heat from high chairs.
At the time it was $10. So at the time he was like, okay, for $5,000 I'll do this. And now the bounty is funded and it's worth $22,000.
All right, so it's worth $22,000 now. He could easily claim that bounty, right?
I mean, he made the SIP. But here's the thing too. Like, I think people are free to put their labor where they want and to take it away from where they want. That's fine. But I do think what it could, because the people that are ostensibly leaving are core members, they should do the community a solid and, like, communicate what's happening, what it means, what, you know, beyond a quick hit forum post, I think.
Right. So,
because this is creating, I mean, Counterparty's at all-time highs, new interest is coming in, and if somebody was, like, really investigating it, they'd be like, oh, the state of the Counterparty project, and it's like, oh, the foundation is shutting down, oh, the developers are leaving. And it's kind of what we have been alleging as a conspiracy is that there's a group of people who want to announce this project dead and start a new one and keep the branding.
Of course, they want to do whatever they're going to do.
And here
under the brand,
the foundation and Counterparty being shut down is a real disservice to that project. It's not like the Bitcoin Foundation going away. It's a lot different in Counterparty because it's a different community. It's a different software project. It's a different state, has different levels of network effects. So that's a big deal. So it's a big disservice. Devin leaving, he's one of the few people with commit access to the repository. One of I mean, I think maybe Robbie has access, but he's not active. I think maybe Ruben has access. He's not active. That's like a security hole in the project. And now that the websites aren't controlled by the foundation, I can't accept this view that, like, that's good, it's just all decentralized, because I know that there's a lot of noobs and interest now who aren't going to understand, same way that Bitcoin.com,
well,
people
let me
don't
stop
understand
you.
what Bcash is.
let me just stop you there.
Go ahead.
When you made the statement, you just said, now that the websites are not controlled by the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, even though the foundation was a real fake foundation, in other words, it's all been LARPing. It's all been LARPing. There has not been any real foundation. Number one, the corporation, as you noted, was in void status since March of 2015. But the other thing about it is that it was way past that date that the only person whose name is on that actual foundation organization in Delaware was looking to have someone else, quote unquote, take his position in this real fake foundation, and that's Robbie. So I was very much encouraged to, move into that position. Little did I know about the status of this whole thing. There was so much information that could have been shared. So what makes me wonder, there's a lot of things that I wonder about this. I don't know how you have a person who has backed away entirely from this entire project, 100%. The last phone call that occurred, he was present on that call. And J-Dog, who is the sole person who controls all of those properties, all of those domain names, all of the funds. He controls 100% of the funds. So what's really weird about all of this is there is an official site, the Counterparty.io website, and it is a WordPress website. And since I have a lot of background with WordPress, I'm very familiar with it. If there needed to be a change here or there, an addition, subtraction, I could equally handle those tasks since I've been familiar with WordPress since it existed. So J-Dog created an account for me on the Counterparty.io website. As soon as we had some disagreements of opinion on these conversations, the last one about a week or so ago, and the one maybe 2 weeks prior, I went to log into that website, and I thought my password had been changed, but it turned out that my entire account was deleted from that website. So let's think about this. You have a guy who controls all of the funds. And I don't mean to sound petty about this because I really don't care that much, but it's just indicative of certain set of circumstances. This person, who's the only one who has access to that website, which is J-Dog, when he did not like the fact that I took issue and challenged him on certain points, he actually removed my entire account. So what does that tell you about the state of not the project, but what does that tell you about the state of this foundation? And the bottom line is, if there's any doubt, all of this sits in the lap of Jeremy Johnson. He owns all of the websites. His name is on all the websites. There is one of the websites, maybe the Counterparty.io, but I think Devin was listed as one of the contacts. I don't remember which exact website, but J-Dog was yeah.
I'm not ready to declare something like that necessarily, but I do think it's relevant because I think it is relevant. I hear what you're saying. I want to go deeper into it with you. But I think why this matters is because you could be like, well, what's it matter? Like people run crypto websites. But in Counterparty, like the network is not that large. However, there are like, there's very cool projects that are there in terms of like Book of Orbs or Spells of Genesis, or there's a Rust Bits thing that's happening now, Rare Pay Party and Rare Pay Wallet and all that stuff. Like there is a network, but a lot of people rely on this particular wallet, on this particular website. It's the reference website for developers. It's an important site. And I'm gonna screen share again if you don't mind, Dante.
Yeah, go ahead, go for it.
And so like, because this forum post doesn't mention to the official websites, I think that needs to be addressed, largely because does that mean that this is now not an official website and this is just like the personal property of Jeremy Johnson? I mean, he already uses it to link to his own websites here in the documentation. It's the only website that has that kind of position. I mean, he runs this website and it goes to this wallet, which is the official wallet, which he runs, which is his company. Mm-hmm. So it's like the illusion of two options, but it's just one person. If we don't figure out who's in control of this website, we see this CoinDaddy to be like BTC, Counterparty BTC. And I don't think that, for me personally, that's not desirable. And I think, Dante, I have a document I really would like to share and go over in this video. If we're really going to get into it, it's the Counterparty New Chain Options document. It's a Google Doc.
Oh, that document. That would be a good document to look at.
I mean, let's just go into it. Let's just.
Down.
I don't take pleasure in doing this, but I think.
Well, wait. You don't take pleasure in this, but however, I want to interject. I know you don't take pleasure in this because you are a believer in the project, as I have been a believer in the project. I think I was around a little bit longer than you were, but I think you were not so public. So you probably were really into the project and you just kind of studied it. I remember when you first announced yourself, you were like, hey, I have a counter wallet server running, and people were like, oh shit, dude, we don't know who you are. But
my like, I don't think that's necessarily very relevant.
But no, it's not relevant. But what is relevant is this. While you don't take pleasure in what you're saying, I think what is more important is and I know what's been going on here. You know and I know what each other thinks about what's been going on here. What is relevant here is really not you and I, because we could just talk one another, and that's all good. I think there are a lot of people that are the party people, that have been paying attention to this. They have not been seeing behind the scenes like perhaps others have. And I got a chance to look behind the curtain, and I just see this like ridiculously ugly, Wizard of Oz.
Share what I want to share. Watch to the end, like and subscribe, share to your friends.
Right.
Click on all the ads.
Right.
Before we share that thing, let's just talk about. So right now, Counterparty is on Bitcoin. Fees in Bitcoin are up, but usage in Counterparty is average. Like it's down a little bit compared to other months in 2017, but it's average usage, and we're talking about like average usage in the face of fees that are like, up 10 times, and it's only been for a short period of time. And so that's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is that there's several SIPs on the Counterparty SIP GitHub that will reduce fees, especially for exchanges, which is very crucial. So like there's a thing that John Villar is working on that I hope gets, I'd love to help him on it, but he's been working on it. It's his project. He's doing assets multi-address sends. So basically, right now in Counterparty, if I want to send Dante 2 different types of tokens, that's 2 different transactions. Or if I want to send 2 different people tokens, that's 2 different transactions. But John came up with a cool idea which will allow in one transaction to pay potentially hundreds of people their counterparty assets. So exchanges could do batch withdrawals, largely reducing the fee by like putting the number of withdrawals as like a denominator.
Right.
So that's one really cool change. There's SegWit, which we went over, which is something that's funded and Devin was going to do, but now someone else is open to do, it seems like, and $20,000 is good money. There are, I'm working on an early little thing where issuances can be a little bit cheaper. It's not a very frequently used thing. Joe Looney, we already have enhanced assets, which lowers the size of counterparty transactions. So there are fee and size reduction things on the roadmap and in place. And usage in this high fee environment is just average still. And I can even show that because I do my research and I look at data. So this is a spreadsheet that's a little confusing, but basically is the total number of sends per year in Counterparty. 90,000, 200,000, 260,000, 240,000. So, or then if we look at orders have actually been going up each year. So 13,000, 12,000, 60,000, 120,000. So that's actually growing usage of the DEX, which is awesome. Love to see that. Growing usage of dividends, which is cool. And we can look even closer. The fees have been very, very high in December mostly. But like, usage in terms of sends is pretty average. Yes, the DEX is seeing reduced orders. I feel like Tonebase is showing my like, what do you call it? Technical analysis or something. But point is,
TNA.
The point is that usage is pretty much average in this high fee environment. So you could have a feeling that Counterparty's dead, or maybe you right now can't trade a certain thing. But I'm starting to try to think about this in certain ways. Like, not everyone can get everything out of a blockchain. That's just how life works. But on regular exchanges, Dante, it's not unusual for a stock to get delisted for lack of trading.
Right.
So maybe in a way, like this is sort of like delisting on a DEX. Like it's not justifiable. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is that changes are coming to improve the fees and the way the whole system works. But, like there are limits and there are metaphors and like, parallels. I think that's something to be interested in. But this idea that Counterparty is dead, that narrative is really hard for me to even consider as a real thing.
Well, I hear what you're saying. Can I interject where that narrative is coming from? Where
Sure.
I think the narrative is coming from. So there are a group of people who felt that it might serve their purpose a little bit better for something. In other words, Bitcoin has the security, period, the end. I've said this before, but there has been a criticism by some people where they said that putting like real assets, like real world assets, into counterparty assets that sits on top of the Bitcoin blockchain, it could add a certain amount of chain weight. In other words, let's say if there's a bunch of tokens that those tokens represent real world value, such as stocks, like Medici, you wanted to do with Preston Burns. So let's just say that's a real thing, hypothetically. In other words, you want to take tokens on Counterparty and you want to have real life assets represented by those tokens. And suddenly you have a whole lot of value that is represented by Counterparty tokens. Now, maybe that real life thing is gold, or maybe it's real estate, or who knows what it is. But the point is, I've heard that argument made. I've kind of disagreed with it myself. But where I'm going with this is that if there's any truth in chain weight, or like being top heavy in terms of this real world value being worth perhaps more than what Bitcoin is worth, and therefore the security of Bitcoin cannot properly ensure the security of those other real world assets that are attributed to these counterparty tokens. If that is in any way true, then if you go ahead and then move or have counterparty assets sitting on top of a very, in comparison to Bitcoin, a very insecure blockchain, which has never been battle tested the way Bitcoin has been. And you have the, one of the, like, let's say the founder of Litecoin, which is what they want to do, full on. They want Counterparty to be on Litecoin, and they want it sanctioned by this real fake official organization called the Counterparty Foundation. That was their goal, to do that. So I look, I don't follow like maybe the flow of things the way you have it laid out, but I just want to say, okay. I just want to say that that was the game plan. That was what Devin wanted. Devin wanted to move to Litecoin. All I can tell you is what I know. He wanted to move to Litecoin. There was a conversation prior to that where I was in major disagreement with all this. J-Dog rage quit the conversation. He jumped out like a little bitch. I'm sorry. Did I say that? Yeah, I fucking said that. I fucking said it. He jumped out like a little bitch. And then
your spit's spitting hot fire.
Then there was another call scheduled, like for a week later. And who's going to be on the call? Well, I called Daddy, and they said, Daddy, Dante was mean to me, and I need you to come on the call, and I need you to set everything right. So let's straighten all this out. So they make this other big call scheduled, and who comes on the call? You had Robbie, Daddy, right? And you had Ruben, who's, I know he holds the key for the commits, but he's not really involved in anything. He's on to bigger and better things. And you had Devin. And then you had these other people. So Devin.
So you're explaining a couple of phone calls that you had?
No, this was it was a Discord chat where the people that were present were, okay, Robbie, Devin, Ruben, and by the way, Robbie later calls for a vote as to whether to go over to Litecoin or not. Stay on Bitcoin or move to Litecoin. This was an actual conversation. There were 3 other people that said no, flat out no. So they didn't even ask me what I thought. They said, oh, well, we know Dante's a no. I didn't even have to say it. They said, well, we know Dante's a no. The person who jumped in, who on the same no side, was Michael Sullivan. He said, my position is no. That was how clear he was. And then you had like this kind of hedgy, well, I don't know why he's going with a no, but it seemed like, it seemed to me like he had some weird agenda. Maybe he was straddling both sides of the fence. So J-Dog, surprisingly, said no. So it's 3-3. Who was absolutely in the middle? And his exact quote was, well, I'm still on the fence, was Sean Leary. So Sean Leary is getting splinters up his ass. He can't make a decision about whether we should move to Litecoin. And when we talked about a quote unquote move, what I was referring to some of the, like, what would you be doing to disadvantage all of the asset holders on Bitcoin? And I mentioned this to Robbie, and he said, oh, don't worry, all hand waving. Don't worry, someone else, some other party, some person, they'll go ahead and pick up the mantle on Bitcoin. Oh, it's not going to go away. Well, what do you mean it's not going to go away? Well, somebody will pick it up and they'll continue it. I said, Robbie, who do you have in mind? Who are you thinking is going to pick this up? I wanted to know names. And he gave me no names. He said, well, somebody will pick it up. That's all it was. This is, and it pisses me off, actually. This is all bullshit.
No, I see you're pissed off. And I think the reason is because we think it stinks, and to get away with this, and
they shouldn't get away with this. By the way, not only should they not get away with this, but these people, whoever you are that's doing this, you're not going to get away with this. You will not. Because you know why? Because I'm watching you. It's not going to happen.
Dante, let's go deeper.
Okay.
Because basically,
I'm being very shallow right now. I'm sorry.
No, but like basically what you're saying is that Litecoin would be a worse chain to move to.
Right.
And why would you have all these phone calls? That's pretty much one of my biggest points of this whole thing is I think there's no reason that these can't be like Google Hangouts like we're doing, or community meetings that are recorded and media, because like you're talking about a major move. Like if Counterparty goes from Bitcoin to Litecoin, it's a big move, and it's not a move that makes any sense. But like if you want to do that, you should rally support, and like, you know what I mean, like the way they're doing things doesn't make any sense. But like the only reason they thought they could do this is largely because they have the websites. They control the foundation. We brought up some things about the foundation that made the foundation inconvenient. Now the foundation is no longer useful. It's got to go.
Wait. Stop. Hold that thought. When you brought these things up, you brought them up. You pointed them out. And there are people in this audience who watched this happen in the Slack. And when you brought these things up, they said that you were a conspiracy theorist, that you were like wearing a tinfoil hat. No, I watched all this happen.
Yeah, okay? It's okay.
But wait. It not only is it, I want to clarify something. When they called you, everything they called you, because you were pretty intuitive, you saw what was happening with this CIP that was listed on the roadmap, about pluggable chains. But when I saw how vindictive and how dogmatic they were going after you, because you were calling it, you were like nailing it, and they're all fucking lying. They were all lying, and they were all saying that you were crazy, that you this and you that. And I was like, what? The guy's nailing it. He's calling out what exactly you guys all did when I got a communication from J-Dog telling me that they didn't want to have 100 or more people in the community putting in their, whatever their opinions were about some of the shit that these guys were talking in back channels. So wait, I'll give you the back channel list that J-Dog quoted. Okay, it was Sean Leary, Joe Looney, John Villar, Chickerator. Maybe it was only the four. Okay, I'm going from memory, so I'm not reading the actual text. But if you have four people actively conspiring to make some kind of a move that they're holding behind, and I'm getting a TLDR. In other words, I'm not involved in the conversation.
Dante, what you're talking about is, one of the you shared me a screenshot that I didn't realize was private, that J-Dog was basically saying to you, hey, I've been talking about this with John Villar, Joe Looney, and Sean Leary, and Devin, and we're thinking about rebranding in 6 months. We definitely don't want people's feedback.
Dude, I just want to make full disclosure. There was a lot of shit where they were calling you a liar and a crazy and a conspiracy theorist and all this. Mm-hmm. So no, that's fine. I was showing you some things to say, no, that's bullshit. You're not on the wrong. So my screen, I'm just saying, maybe I would have decided to share that with you, but I don't know 100% that I did. Or I use a program called Sketch. And they're like bugged out lately on the Mac. So like you send a screenshot and it like sends the previous one or some crap like that. So what I'm saying is you did do me the courtesy to say, hey, I'm thinking about sharing this. I didn't realize what it was. I'm just trying to make that clear for the video.
This is going to matter to like 3 people.
That's okay.
Let me. So basically, everyone at this point, because we've been agitating about it, know that you fork Counterparty. Again, my position is that I'm totally cool on forking the code. Go and do that. I think forking the ledger is a little bit trickier. And this is a stupid point that's been brought up, but it's a very technical point. But let's just knock it out of there. Moving from one chain to another chain is a major fucking change. Updating what the software, the federated nodes consider valid, is technically a hard fork in Counterparty, but it does it regularly. There's a history of it. It happens all the time. It's different from other things. It's not a blockchain. It's an embedded consensus, so it's different. And like all the improvements in Counterparty, but like that's a change on top of the same change in the same history.
Right.
That's significantly different from moving over here and try to contain and try to maintain the histories. There, 2,000 Bitcoin were burned. There's been over 1 million Bitcoin transactions that are actually counterparty transactions in the last 4 years. There's just momentum there, and while they have seemed to have like um, shutting down counterparty, effectively they're finding other ways to do it. So like getting rid of the foundation is one way to hamstring it. Not giving new people commit access, one way to do it. Maybe letting this fund sit unused is another way to do it. It's a little annoying. So let me screen share some stuff, Dante. I liked your
Yeah.
rant. Let me get on a little screen share rant.
Oh yeah, I'm good. You like my rant?
This is.
Did you like my rant?
I did. I loved it.
Okay.
Fucking love your rant. This is counterparty history. You can see, you know, in terms of BTC price, it goes up and down, up and down. There's been some pamps. It's been like rallying pretty hard, pretty cool, all-time highs, right?
Yeah.
But another way to fork counterparty is and like start fresh with a new history. And there's precedent of that, and it's called Doge Party, for example. That's one of them. Doge Party. Doge Party at its peak hit a $400,000 market cap worth total market cap $32,000.
Wow.
What? So this is
I wonder who that is.
And so Doge Party, let's check out the website, the Explorer, the message board. Dead. There's an old Explorer, Doge Party chain, dead. And this is, you know, Jeremy Johnson's website.
Oh, really? Wow.
So what?
Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that. Doge Party. That's pretty awesome.
So what pisses me off about that is that we have somebody who not a member of the foundation, and yes, he's made contributions to the Counterparty's project. Like, that's true, but that doesn't. No one owes him anything. And what I don't like is that he controls the official website, the official wallet. He also links the official wallet to his wallet. I mean, he controls both of them anyways. He controls all the funds. Who we see who has shut down a different Counterparty fork before, like he's done it before. So so that's just, you know, and I really hate to make it so personal, but like if it's one person, a big issue of some other projects is like they're not fucking willing to like tell it like it is. Like maybe this is fucked up. Now
well, it is fucked up.
Now let's I'm going to share a document now. Because
oh yeah,
it's not a public document. I mean, anyone with a link can find it. Many people have this link.
No, but yeah, but it's an open source project, but nothing is public.
And I really want to keep the overarching, you know, for me, the narrative arc here. All of this stuff could have been talked about publicly, discussed, and like for whatever reason, they seem to feel there's a need for this to be a secret discussion that is denied that exists, and they have to like do weird things like
I lost you. Wow, it worked.
All right, I'm sorry. Did you keep recording?
I was never recording.
Okay.
I don't know what I said. What?
Do you have a button do you have a button that stops or starts the broadcast?
No.
Okay.
Let me
I think
see.
the video is still recording. So
I think it is. I think it is. I went right by where it says live.
yeah, it
So I
says
think we're
live.
live. So is
And
this, can we have this, can we keep this like fuck up part in the
Yeah.
thing? Because it's cool. It'll look like we did this like, okay.
So fucking stupid. Of course my internet kicks out, so I'm on my phone as a fucking hotspot now.
No way. Do you know what? The bandwidth is 10 times better.
Of course.
You have Verizon?
So that was so stupid though. I mean,
What?
anyways, it wasn't to make a big build up, like, oh, suspense. It's just because my fucking internet died. Let me show you this document, which again, I think the issue is that like these could be public opinions. Like people should give feedback on this. Why the fuck not?
Okay, I want to see that. Where's the screenshot?
So this is can you see it, Dante?
Yes, it looks good. You can make it a little bit bigger for the audience. Not better. Good. Okay, that's reasonable.
It's probably as big as I can get it, Dante.
No, that's perfect. No, I like it.
So this is a document called Counterparty, New Chain Options. And, we can see here we have a few options that were being considered. And it's, you can see who it's being considered by: Joe Looney, Devin Weller. What do we got here? J-Dog, Devin Weller. Okay, so there's the people who, deny this discussion's happening and fucking act like I'm a nutter.
Yeah, you're a nutter, bro.